The next game on our list is the Dallas Cowboys taking down the Washington Commanders 25-10. Another victory for Cooper Rush and this Dallas Cowboys team. We talked earlier on in the show about overreactions, and you brought up this Cooper Rush thing. And is it an overreaction? The headlines that I'm reading today of could there be a quarterback controversy in Dallas?
Is there an overreaction? Of course it's an overreaction. There's no quarterback controversy, man. Dak Prescott makes $40 million a year. Just stop. Like 15 for 27 and 223 and 2 touchdowns. Listen, I'm going to give credit to somebody that we don't like to really give a lot of shout out names and big networks and stuff. But there's a female correspondent, Joy Taylor. I'm sure you're aware of her. She worked with Colin Cowherd. She came out and she's like, this is just disrespectful to Dak Prescott at this point. For a number of years, we've talked about what Dak Prescott is. He's a good quarterback, not great, but he's a good quarterback. He beats up on the bad teams, and then he hasn't been able to beat really the good teams. Well, what the hell has Cooper Rush done? I'm sorry, you want to give him credit for beating the Giants and the Washington Football Commander, Redskin, whatever you want to call him. And
whoa.
And then a Bengals team that, let's be honest, was not playing well in week 2. I just think we need to calm down. He's not making mistakes, and that's why he's successful. This is any backup quarterback's job, is to come in and not make mistakes. So your defense, which is arguably the best defense in football, can do what they do, which is not give up anything. And yes, Cooper Rush is playing well, but stop with the quarterback controversy. No, he's not pushing Dak Prescott. No, there's not a quarterback controversy. Stop listening to Jerry Jones's press conference. He is trying to sell you tickets. He is trying to make money for the Dallas Cowboys. He is selling Cooper Rush, so we can talk about Cooper Rush. And guess what he's doing? He's being successful doing it.
Let's shift it. Let's shift it over then. Let's shift it over to the receiver position. 2 receivers I want to talk about in this game, one from both teams. Michael Gallup made his return in this game, 2 receptions, 24 yards and a touchdown. Assessment from him early on, obviously not a big game, only 3 targets in the game with the 2 receptions. But how did he look? In your eyes, how did Michael Gallup look?
He looked good. He looked like he was not afraid to run and cut. And we always talk about the mental aspect of it. Played about 50 to 60% of the snaps, which is good. That'll ramp up as the season goes on. But getting out of that first game with that mental of, man, I was able to go up and jump and come down, land on my knees, cut on my routes, and not feel scared or afraid. That's the huge part of that comeback. And yeah, it's going to take a few weeks for him to get really, really back. But that changes the Cowboys offense because it gives you now another explosive playmaker on the outside, which is big. So now the combination of him with CD and Noah Brown being a possession physical guy that's good in the blocking game, it's big for them. And I thought Michael Gallup played well.
It adds another weapon to an already good offense that is filled with weapons. Talk about Zeke, Tony Pollard, the emergence of Noah Brown, and obviously CeeDee Lamb, who's the leader of that offense, 6 receptions, 97 yards, and a touchdown. On the Commanders side,
that's why you don't buy into Tony Pollard. See that game? He didn't do nothing.
8 carries, 6 yards, no tutties, 1 catch, 2 receptors.
This is why you don't buy into Tony Pollard. As bad as Zeke you guys think he is, Zeke will never have that
24 running.
I know.
That's what you get.
This is what happens when I buy into it, because I'm trying to tell people, like, he has that type of game. 8 carries for 6 yards.
Is this probably the best situation for you to be wrong? Like, you're happy you're wrong in this situation because, like, you finally get to say, "Hey, I've been right. I told everybody that don't buy into the Tony Pollard fantasy stuff," and then you show them, "Okay, you know what? I'll give you guys what you want. I'll put them in the top 24, and then this is what happens."
I want Tony Pollard to be successful. I like Tony Pollard. I just know football. I'm not stupid. Like, people they want Tony Pollard to be it. So that's how they view him. And I'm telling you, like, it's not the way it works. You can't give that guy 20 carries between the tackles and expect him to be an every down back. That's not what football looks like. Like, he is the typical change of pace guy. Yep. Give him 8 to 10 touches, and he can be productive in some games. That's fine. You got to have guys like that.
Yeah, Zeke obviously led in carries, 19 carries, 49 yards. But let me shift over to the Commanders here real quick. And Not a whole lot of highlights from a 10 when they only scored 10 points in this game and Carson Wentz turns the ball over 2 times. But there's one player I want to talk about and get your thoughts on, someone we were high on in the draft, Jahan Dotson. The Commanders traded up to get Jahan Dotson, and we were like, oh, they didn't really need to do that. It wasn't necessary. But they ended up trading up, getting their guy in this game. 3 receptions, 43 yards, and a touchdown. In this season, he's got, I believe, let me just double check my notes here. In this season for Jahan Dotson, he has four of his 10 career receptions have been touchdowns. He's been productive when he's getting the ball, so to speak, for the Commanders. What have you seen from Jahan Dotson's game? And is he the highlight? He's the highlight of this Commanders season so far, right? Yes, that's the answer.
They don't have a highlight. I said Jahan Dotson. I was so sad Jahan Dotson went to this situation. And no, he's not the highlights. It's Curtis Samuel that you're just disrespecting. But the Jahan Dotson problem is he's got Carson Wentz at quarterback. This is why I did not want him to go to this situation, because now you have a ton of weapons. Like, I will admit, I'm not a Washington fan, but when you have Jahan Dotson, Terry McLaurin, Curtis Samuel, Antonio Gibson, Brian Robinson will be there in a couple of weeks. When you have all those weapons, what is the common denominators why they're not successful? Why is Terry McLaurin struggling this year? It's Carson Wentz. Like, Carson Wentz is on the level of almost making Terry McLaurin a worse wide receiver than he was with Fitzpatrick or who are those other guys? Taylor Heineke or Alex Smith or any of those guys. Like, he's worse.
Garrett Gilbert.
Dwayne Haskins had Terry McLaurin playing better. So if that's the common denominator, it's now Carson Wentz. What's the problem? It's the quarterback. It's the quarterback. You got to find a quarterback. And when are we going to stop? When are we going to stop giving Carson Wentz the benefit of the doubt? He hasn't earned it. He hasn't earned it.
We're going to see 2 quarterbacks careers shift from starting quarterbacks to backups after this season, and that's Baker Mayfield and Carson Wentz. Both those guys' careers are going to shift from starting quarterbacks to backup. You know, I don't want to make the comparison here because their styles are not the same, but Carson Wentz and Baker Mayfield, at least for next year, I can see it now happening. They're going to shift into the Tyrod Taylor, Jacoby Brissett, Teddy Bridgewater categories, where they're going to be your good backups. You're going to bring them in as your backup options that come in and have to, or maybe even a Mitch Trubisky type of change for them, where they have to go to their next team, be a backup for a year to try and figure out something. But that's the side of things for the Commanders. My player of the game here is, oh Jesus, that's gross. It didn't adjust. Is Trayvon Diggs. In this game, he was a game changer, shutting down Terry McLaurin, 3 pass deflections, an interception. That quarterback rate, or that passer rating, when targeted, is just, I mean, that's it. That's exactly what you want from a cornerback, especially a cornerback that everyone's like, oh, he's not shut down, he's not a lockdown corner. And then he does this against Terry McLaurin, who, let's not change the narrative, Terry McLaurin's a good wide receiver. He's one of the best in the league. He's a top 10 wide receiver, top 12 wide receiver in this league, borderline. And Trayvon Diggs shut him down, not allowing him to get anything in this game. Only 1 catch from Trayvon Diggs allowed. And he is my player of the game in a game where the Cowboys defeated the Commanders 25-10.
Can I say something about that?
Yes,
Trayvon Diggs thing really quickly? Cornerbacks are going to get burned. Like, we talked, Jalen Ramsey gets burned. Like, it's going to happen. What Trayvon Diggs has done in his career against Terry McLaurin is pretty impressive, and we'll dive into that another day. But he's pretty much locked Terry McLaurin down since he's been in the league. And Trayvon Diggs is a really good corner. You can call him not elite. You can call him, he makes plays. He is a ball hawk. He knows how to find. He sealed the game last week with an interception. Got an interception like he was running the route this week. I'll take all the Trayvon Diggs you can give me. I don't care what anybody has to say about him.
Yep. He's very good at that football. The Cowboys defeat the Commanders 25-10.